AITA for refusing to wear my engagement ring after finding out it's fake? My fiancé proposed with what I thought was a diamond ring. I got it appraised for insurance. It's cubic zirconia worth $40. He spent $12,000 on a gaming setup last month. When I confronted him, he said I'm materialistic. I'm 27F and I genuinely cannot tell if I'm being unreasonable or if I have every right to be upset. My fiancé Kyle, 29M, proposed to me 6 weeks ago. It was beautiful. He planned this whole thing at the botanical gardens where we had our first date. Got down on one knee. The works? I cried, said yes, posted pictures on social media. Everyone was so excited. I remember standing there under the blooming flowers, thinking this was the moment I'd dreamed of, the start of our forever. Little did I know it was the beginning of the end. The ring is gorgeous, white gold band, what I thought was maybe a 1.5 carat diamond, simple setting, exactly my style. I was so happy he'd picked something so perfect, something I'd wear every day as a symbol of our commitment. Kyle and I have been together for 3 years. He's a software engineer making around $140,000. I'm a teacher making $52,000. We split bills proportionally based on income. He pays about 60%. I pay 40%. We've been living together for a year and started talking seriously about marriage last year. We'd discussed rings a few times. I'd shown him styles I liked. Nothing extravagant, just classic and timeless. Last week, I called our insurance company to add the ring to my policy. The agent said I'd need an appraisal. First, I made an appointment with a jeweler for yesterday after school. The jeweler looked at it for maybe 30 seconds before she looked up at me with this uncomfortable expression. She said, "I need to be honest with you. This isn't a diamond, it's cubic zirconia." I left, said that couldn't be right. Kyle wouldn't propose with a fake ring without telling me. My heart started pounding as she explained, showing me the lack of sparkle under the light, the perfect clarity that diamonds don't have. She showed me under the loupe, pointed out why it wasn't diamond, said the setting was real white gold, probably worth $100 to $150, but the stone was CZ. The whole ring was probably worth $40 to $50 retail. I sat there in shock, the room spinning a bit. The jeweler looked sympathetic. She said sometimes people do placeholder rings and plan to upgrade later. Asked if maybe that was the situation. I mumbled something about not knowing and left, appraisal in hand, feeling like the ground had dropped out from under me. I sat in my car for 20 minutes trying to process. Kyle proposed with a $40 ring, and he never said anything about it being temporary or a placeholder. He presented it as the ring, the one we'd chosen together in spirit. Here's where I might be the jerk. Last month, Kyle spent $12,000 on a new gaming setup, like custom PC, top-of-the-line everything, new desk, gaming chair, 3 monitors, the works. He'd been saving for it for months and was so excited when he finally ordered everything. I'd helped him set it up, listened to him geek out over specs, even played a few games with him to celebrate. I was supportive. It's his money, his hobby. He games a lot and it makes him happy. I didn't think anything of it, but now I'm doing the math. He spent $12,000 on gaming equipment and $40 on my engagement ring. The contrast hit me like a truck. How could he justify that to himself? I went home yesterday and asked Kyle if we could talk, like 6 p.m., after he got back from work. I told him I'd gotten the ring appraised for insurance. His face went weird, like he knew what was coming. I said the jeweler told me it wasn't a diamond. He got defensive immediately, said does it matter? I said yes because he never told me it was CZ. He said he didn't think I'd care about something superficial like that. I said it's not about the material, it's about the honesty. If he wanted to do a placeholder ring, fine, but he should have told me. He said he wasn't planning to upgrade it. This is the ring. I asked him straight up, you spent $12,000 on a gaming setup last month. Why did you spend $40 on my engagement ring? He said those are two completely different things. The gaming setup is an investment in his hobby and his mental health. The ring is just symbolic. I said engagement rings are also symbolic and traditionally represent commitment and sacrifice. He said that's old-fashioned materialistic garbage and he thought I was above that. I told him I'm not above wanting my fiancé to put more thought and money into my engagement ring than he puts into a single gaming session. He told me I was being shallow. We argued for an hour. He kept saying I was proving I only care about money and status. I kept saying this wasn't about the money. It was about what the amount says about his priorities. He said if I loved him, the ring wouldn't matter. I said if he loved me, he wouldn't have spent 300 times more on a computer than on my ring. That's when he said I was being materialistic and that he was disappointed in me. That he thought I was different from other girls who just want expensive things. I took the ring off, told him I wasn't wearing it until we figured this out. He lost it, said I was breaking up with him over a ring. I said I wasn't breaking up with him. I just wasn't wearing a ring that represents him valuing his gaming setup over our engagement. He called me crazy, said this is exactly why he didn't spend more, because he knew I'd be ungrateful no matter what. I asked how I was supposed to be grateful for something he put zero thought or care into. He's been sleeping on the couch Since yesterday, he told his best friend, who texted me saying I'm being ridiculous and shallow. His sister called saying I'm making a big deal out of nothing and I should be happy Kyle wants to marry me at all. But my best friend says I'm right to be upset. My sister says the price isn't the point, the deception is the point. My mom says maybe Kyle just doesn't understand jewelry and I should educate him. Kyle hasn't apologized. He's doubling down that I'm materialistic and he's glad he tested me by getting a cheap ring because now he knows my true character. He tested me. Those were his words. Now I'm wondering if I'm crazy. Should the ring not matter? Am I being shallow for caring that he spent $40 when he spent $12,000 on gaming equipment the same month he was apparently ring shopping? His mom texted me this morning, said Kyle told her about our fight and she's disappointed in me, that her son deserves someone who loves him for who he is, not what he spends. I'm not asking him to spend a fortune. I'm asking him to spend more than the cost of 2 video games on the ring I'm supposed to wear for the rest of my life. So tell me honestly, AITA for refusing to wear my engagement ring after finding out it's fake and he spent 300 times more on gaming equipment. Update, 3 days later, this blew up way more than I expected. Thank you for all the responses. I needed the reality check because Kyle's been making me feel like I'm losing my mind. Here's what's happened since I posted. Kyle still hasn't apologized. He's been staying at his best friend's place for 2 days, like he packed a bag and left after our last argument. We've texted but every message from him is about how disappointed he is in me for caring about material things. I talked to my sister yesterday. She asked a question that's been bothering me. If Kyle was saving money for his gaming setup, when exactly was he planning to buy your ring? I went through our joint calendar. Kyle proposed January 8th. He ordered his gaming setup January 15th. He proposed with a $40 ring, then dropped $12,000 on computer equipment 1 week later. It's not even like he was saving up and the gaming stuff was planned for ages. He literally proposed and then immediately spent a fortune on himself. My sister said that's the real issue. It's not that he's into gaming. It's that he had $12,000 available and chose to spend it on anything but a ring that actually matched his income and our relationship. I looked at our finances more carefully. Kyle makes $140,000. He has minimal expenses because we split bills and he has no debt. He easily saves $3,000 to $4,000 per month. The gaming setup was 3 months of savings. He couldn't spare even 1 month of savings for an engagement ring. $40 was what he thought I was worth. I called him yesterday, asked him to explain. He said the ring situation revealed that I care more about money than love, that he'd always known I was more materialistic than him but he thought he could look past it. I asked him if he proposed as a test. He said no. He proposed because he loved me, but my reaction to finding out the ring was inexpensive proved we had different values. I said, Kyle, you spent $12,000 on a gaming setup 1 week after giving me a $13 ring. You have to see how that looks. He said his gaming setup was an investment in his hobby and career. He sometimes does freelance work that requires good equipment. I asked how much freelance work he'd done in the past year. He admitted none yet, but he was planning to start. So the gaming setup was a $12,000 investment in a career that doesn't exist yet, but spending more than $13 on an engagement ring was materialistic excess. I told him we were done. He seemed surprised, said he thought we were just taking a break to think about things. I said no, I've thought about it plenty. He tested me with a cheap ring. I'm testing him with a breakup. He tried to argue, said I was throwing away 3 years over a misunderstanding. I said it wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a fundamental difference in how we value each other. I asked him, if I spent $13 on your birthday present and then spent $12,000 on myself the next week, how would you feel? He said that's different. I asked how. He couldn't explain. We argued for another 20 minutes before I told him to come get his stuff from the apartment. He's been living here for a year but it's my lease, my place. I wanted his things gone. He came by yesterday with Mike. They packed up his belongings. Mike made some comment about how I'm going to regret this when I'm old and alone. I ignored him. As they were leaving, Kyle stopped in the doorway. He said, you know, I actually did look at real diamond rings. There was one for $2,800 I almost bought, but then I thought, if she really loves me, the ring won't matter. I guess I was right. I said, you were testing me. You admitted it. You purposely bought a cheap ring to see if I'd complain. That's not love, Kyle. That's manipulation. He said I'd never understand because I'm too focused on material things. I said he'd never understand because he's too focused on himself. They left. I haven't heard from him since except for one text asking if I found his gaming headset. I told him I'd leave it outside. He came by and got it while I was at work. It's over. 3 years. Gone. Because my ex-fiancé thought testing my character with a $13 ring was more important than actually valuing me. Here's what really gets me. If Kyle had just been honest, this could have been different. If he'd said, hey, I want to propose but I'm saving for this gaming setup that's really important to me. Can we do a simple ring now and upgrade later? I would have been fine with that. Or if he'd said, I'm not into expensive jewelry. Let's pick something meaningful together in our budget. That would have been fine too, but he deliberately bought the cheapest ring he could find, never told me, and then acted like I was a bad person for being hurt when I found out. My mom asked if I'm sure about ending things. I am. This wasn't about the ring. It was about what the ring represented. Kyle's priorities, his honesty, his willingness to test me instead of communicate with me. My dad said Kyle sounds like someone who wants the benefits of marriage, having a partner, looking successful, etc., without actually investing in one. That hit home. I'm sad. I'm also relieved. I don't want to marry someone who sees spending money on me as a character test, but spending money on himself as totally justified. Final update. 2 months later. It's been 2 months since Kyle and I broke up. I'm doing a lot better than I expected. First, the ring situation resolved itself in the most ridiculous way possible. Kyle's sister contacted me 3 weeks ago asking for the ring back. Said it was a family heirloom. I reminded her that Kyle bought it on Amazon for $38.99 and I had the screenshots to prove it. She got quiet and never brought it up again. Kyle apparently told his family the ring was expensive and that I was being unreasonable. His family was taking his side until I forwarded them the Amazon order confirmation. Haven't heard from any of them since. I did some reflecting on our relationship, talked to friends, looked back at patterns. This wasn't the first time Kyle prioritized his wants over our needs. I'd just always made excuses for it. 2 years ago, we were saving for a vacation together. We'd each agreed to put in $2,000 for a trip to Europe. I saved my portion. Kyle spent his vacation fund on a new VR headset and games. We didn't go on the trip. He said we could go another time. Last year, my car needed $1,500 in repairs. Kyle had the money but said he couldn't help because he was saving for something important. 2 weeks later he bought a limited edition gaming PC case for $800. When I pointed out the timing, he said his savings and my car were separate issues. For my birthday last year, he got me a $25 gift card to Target. His birthday, I planned a surprise party and spent $400 on food, decorations, and a gift he'd been wanting. He said my party was nice but kind of over the top. I'd been ignoring patterns for years. The ring was just the most obvious example. Here's the kicker. Kyle got engaged again, already, to a girl he met on a gaming Discord. They've known each other for 5 weeks. His best friend Mike, who'd been so awful to me, sent me the announcement screenshot. I guess to make me jealous? The ring in the photo looks like actual diamond, looks expensive. I laughed out loud when I saw it. So Kyle can afford a nice ring. He just didn't want to buy one for me. He just didn't value me enough to. I'm dating someone new. His name is Alex. I met him through a friend. He's an accountant. We've been on 4 dates. It's early but it's nice. Last week, Alex showed up to pick me up for a date with flowers. Just because. Said he saw them and thought of me. They cost maybe $15 from the grocery store. But he thought of me and acted on it. Kyle never bought me flowers in 3 years. Said they were a waste of money because they just die. Funny how someone can think flowers are wasteful but a $12,000 gaming setup is essential. I'm doing well. I got a raise at work. I'm taking a pottery class on weekends. I'm planning a solo trip to Portland to visit a friend. I'm building a life that I'm excited about. My apartment feels more like mine without Kyle stuff everywhere. I can watch what I want on TV. I don't have to listen to gaming streams at full volume at midnight. I don't have to plan my schedule around raid times. I don't have to wonder if my partner values me or just values having a partner. Kyle texted me last week. Said he hoped I was doing well and that he'd been thinking about our relationship. Said maybe he didn't handle things right. I didn't respond. His sister texted yesterday asking if I'd be willing to talk to Kyle because he's been really struggling since the new engagement. I blocked her number. I'm not responsible for Kyle's feelings or choices anymore. He made his decisions. I made mine. We're both living with the consequences. The ring is in a box in my closet. I keep meaning to throw it away but haven't yet. Maybe I'll keep it as a reminder to never accept less than I deserve. Or maybe I'll toss it eventually. Either way, it's just a $13 piece of costume jewelry. It doesn't mean anything anymore. Kyle taught me an important lesson. When someone shows you how much they value you, believe them the first time. He showed me I was worth $13 while he was worth $12,000. I finally believed him. Now I'm building a life with people who show me I'm worth more than a placeholder, worth more than a test, worth more than whatever's convenient or cheap. Alex doesn't know about the ring situation yet. We're taking things slow. But when I told him about my favorite type of flowers, he wrote it down in his phone, just in case he wanted to surprise me later. That's the difference. Kyle tested me. Alex listens to me. I know which one I prefer. So that's the end of this story. Kyle's engaged to someone new with what looks like a real ring. I'm single, happy, and building a life that doesn't include someone who values gaming equipment more than commitment. I'd say I got the better deal. And honestly, I hope Kyle's new fiancé knows what she's getting into. I hope he's treating her better than he treated me. But if I had to bet, I'd guess she'll have her own $13 moment eventually. That's not my problem anymore. I'm worth more than cubic zirconia. I'm worth more than being tested. I'm worth more than someone's afterthought. And it took a $13 engagement ring to teach me that. Best $13 lesson I ever got.